During several occasions in films, when two characters are conversing, you'll find that one character is narrating a series of events which happen through his life, and the listener just nods his head. And the narrator gets angry and he comes to the listener and says, you will not understand anything, you will not understand what I had to face. After reading the story, I was just thinking how the author Benjamin was able to really capture what had transpired in Najib's life. Hi, this is Gautam, and for the first episode in the Kerala series, we'll be looking at Goat Days by Benyamin. The book was first published as Aadujeevitham in 2009 and it was translated by Joseph Koipaldi. The story starts with a suspense. We have this protagonist Najib who wants to admit himself into the prison. And after being admitted in the prison, he doesn't really like to eat mutton. So the suspense is stored for the second part of the story. Before that, the author mangles the mind and that allows or invites doubts in the minds of the reader as to why is the individual behaving in such a way and why or what was his situation so that it was so bad that he wants to get admitted into a prison. It was only in the second part of the story that you could clearly see the sun, which was until then clouded by sandstorms. Najib leaves Kerala in 1992 to find a better job because his wife is pregnant and he wants to make sure he wants to give a very good life for his child. He steps into uncharted territory in the Gulf. He doesn't know the language and he completely puts faith in his arbab, the way the Arab masters are referred to in the story. In the Gulf, Najib gets the job of a shepherd. We usually use the phrase fish out of water to explain that a person is in a precarious condition, that he is very uncomfortable. In the story, Najib becomes the metaphor himself, where his body is dried and parched by the sun, and his soul and spirit is sunk by the dead cold of the night. The events in the goat farm slowly bring him to a realization that there is nowhere to go, that there is nowhere to escape. And after a point of time, he accepts the situation and slowly adapts the goats as his own children. But even then, the urge to go back home, the urge to live the same life which he had, the urge to leave the desert, to overcome the suffering is still there. And to explain that urge, I would just like to read a passage from the text. It is from page 146. It just goes, "One day I took the goats for a walk as usual. Leaving them to wander, I climbed up and sat on a sand dune. I don't know why, memories of homeland awakened in me. All my suppressed thoughts stirred and erupted like a volcano. I must escape from here. I must go home. I must reach my Ummah. I must see my Sino. I must see my Nabil. I must see my land. I must see my dusty roads. I must see my river. I must see my canoe. I must see my rain. I must see my earth." At such moments, I could truly comprehend the meaning of nostalgia. It's a craving, an acute craving that makes us hate our present condition. Then, that craving takes the form of a crazy urge to rush home like a wild boar, rushing wildly through sugarcane fields when it's being shot. It happens only once in a while, but when it does, it's not easy to shut down the surge of emotions. The story raises deep questions on nativity and migration, and when I was reading the book, it was really difficult not to think about one Tamil film. The visuals were again and again blocking the vision. It was Marian, played brilliantly by versatile Dhanush. Marian was released in 2013, where the king of the seas, who's belovedly loved by his companions, suffers in a desert after migrating away from his home. The plight of migrant workers was clearly seen in COVID 19 during the lockdown, not just in India but all parts of the world. And whenever people migrate for work, rather than the happiness they find, the disappointments exponentially increase. And at times, I think about this dialogue from the film Spectre. And, a character talks to James Bond and he tells James Bond a very simple statement. He says, "You're a kite dancing in a hurricane, Mr. Bond." And at times I think, aren't we all kites dancing in our own hurricanes and problems? Like all of us find ourselves in hard and rock places. It's like we are travelers in a desert, toiling under different conditions. Of course, the conditions will differ. but every one of us toils in our own way. And we search for that one single oasis, or for one single moisture drop which could quench our thirst. And we live this painful life expecting few moments of magic and few moments of worthwhile living. And that is where books can actually play a role, because reading through what has happened to Najib and what has gone through in Najib's life actually, tells you that what we are living and what most of us are experiencing are definitely better, and we should not give up. And whenever a problem arises in our life, and as I told you, that when we travel over the desert of life, we might find an oasis which is worthwhile to stay for a few days or so. And I believe that this book is one such, and it will definitely make your life better. So that's it for now. This is the first book on Kerala series, and this is to subscribers. If you know any books by authors from Kerala, or any novels, or it can be fiction or it can be non-fiction, or anything set in Kerala, you could also recommend. I'm planning to do at least 5 to 6 books for one state or one region or one city. So your recommendations will definitely be helpful to continue the series for more and more episodes. That's it for now.